Good afternoon, HubSpot Nation. Happy Friday. It's May 29th, 2026. Here with some new best friends that I'm meeting for the first time. Britt and Avi from HubSpot are going to help me unbox one of their creations, Centralized HubSpot Data Model Management. Um, I am so excited to check this out. One of my goals in life right now is to help every business do better when it comes to their data models so that AI can actually do something good for them. So I'm excited to dive in. But before we do that, um, uh, Abby, like what have you been up to and like what has led you to creating this thing in HubSpot for us?
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Chris. Hello, everybody. This is a new version of the data model builder. That's how we call this internally. The play is centralization. Like if you are creating objects, you have an object settings page where you go make changes to an object and everything. Then you have a property settings page where you can go create, edit, delete properties, create conditional rules on the properties and all of that. And then we also have an association settings page where you can go make changes to your association. But there is no place to look at all of these things together, right? And that is what we built in this centralized data model management system. You could look at all your objects, properties, conditional rules, uh, associations, and much more that's coming up in the future, right? We want to bring all of these things into one place. And there are two visual flavors to it. By default, it shows you all the tables right now. In the V1 version, we built graphs for objects and associations. Within HubSpot, this is the only place where you can see all the associations in a nice graph view. So centralization is the story here.
Indeed. Um, and if you don't mind, Britt, I'm just gonna jump in and like we can start digging in because it's as kind of as simple as what you just said, Abby. And like I yeah, let me just share my screen here because um I always like to right now just run things by Breeze Assistant to make sure we're all aligned. So I got I got its take on what this update is. And again, one place to manage the data model. So by the way, if you're watching this and you want to learn, like just go click on Breeze Assistant and it will tell you all about this too. Uh, Table and graph view we'll be checking out, object detail, side panel, uh, more direct object management. And when we say like all the objects, it's all of them.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts. And then exporting. So when I first, so to your point, um, I don't think it's news to anybody that it's been a pain in the ass recently to understand which object uh, you can go manage associations and their properties and just see like what you want to see in terms of like, do we have to like sneak our way through the CRM index page, or do we go over to settings and is there a new drop down and maybe it's going to take us over to the data model area, maybe not. And so this is a welcome surprise. I know the team has been working on it, and as I click through here, um, uh, like just all of them, all of the objects, right? And I've got a lot, so I take advantage of the whole native, data model. I renamed some stuff. I like have lots of custom objects in here, and um, an interesting use case to put in perspective. I do a lot of work through Cloud Code, to help manage the portal uh, and create custom client portal experiences. And we've been leveraging Notes a lot to help us post calls and pre-calls to set up agendas and not have to structure everything like based on properties. And a couple days ago, I was wondering, because the agents I was working with was telling me, like, yeah, do you want me to fill in this property on the note record too? Right. And it was only asking me that because it was built into the command, but I didn't know, like, I did the plan, right? And then we built out what we're gonna do. Like, when you do this command, you're gonna fill in a note, and if we need properties, let's make them, right? And I think so as I come right into here, like exactly what I wanted to be true, like was true. Um, and so I see notes here as an object and this property. So a bit of uh, customer feedback here. It would be awesome if this froze and came down with me uh, as I scroll down the page. Um, but this property is like, so 23 brings me right to the properties, and it showed me exactly like which properties that I needed to know about. Like, these were the two properties that the agent was asking me about, and um, as and the other thing that confirmed is like, okay, yeah, this is API like only that I was able to make the properties, because I'm not a developer, and that's why I'm kind of speaking in these terms. I've been enabled to do a lot of things with AI. I know a lot about the HubSpot data model. I put them together like when I can, but this was the kind of things like, while I am able to build stuff and like curate, I don't want to ever like, let me just go ping the API and then have like a like like do that to confirm like what is built and what is not, right? And like AI could have done that for me, but maybe I don't want to spend those tokens in that way. Now I can come right in here, like, for a note, folks. Like, that's what I'm just. It's all the objects. Are there? I'm curious. Are there any objects that aren't in here that you guys like need to get in here? I know object is kind of a loaded
Yeah.
term, right? But just take me through that, like, as you guys were thinking about, you start there, like, object, the what is an object in HubSpot?
Okay. Uh, as you said, there are hundreds of objects right here. And then object is our primary representation of data in HubSpot. And obviously, we don't show all the hundreds here. Like I think we don't filter much. You should be able to see almost all of your objects right here. And I think the graph would also give you a nice view of the groups, like what are considered as CRM objects. If you can click on the, yeah, shows you like what are CRM objects, what are sales objects, what are activity objects. I think we are filtering out on a few activity objects and things related to workflows and things like that. But
Yeah, the one thing I'll add here too is that one focus that we've had is being able to easily add objects. So even just throughout the development cycle, I think we've even been adding objects. So there is an easy way for us to add objects, and that is something that we've been focusing on as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be more objects in the future. So
Yeah. A lot of what I like to work with people on is um like services and listings and like these other native objects that, like, it doesn't always have to be a custom object necessarily. Like, we can rename these objects. And but I think one of the challenges, and I'm interested to understand, but maybe it is solved for. So invoices, payments, quotes, credit memos, subscriptions. I think that's almost all. That's all of the the commerce objects, except for the new one, contracts, which I just don't have it in my portal. That's why we're not seeing it. But yeah, I definitely when I came in, and I love this ability. I would imagine this is like when the non-devs ask for something that they feel is easy just because like I could go do it like myself on my website because I have like work with Cloud Code. And it's like, why can't you guys just like give me like a full screen option or like the sidebar flyouts? But that's where like when I was giving feedback early on, I was trying to do stuff like this, and I'm still trying to do stuff like this. I think there's a lot of value in understanding how to map this stuff outside of HubSpot first in like places where you're not going to mess anything up. You can like start to like draw lines in between places. But like once you're in here, like having this single space and just being able to create the space you need is, I think, very underrated, especially when some people are working on laptops and like, they don't always have a bunch of real estate. So this is something that I like a lot. And I hope to see it on like, records and things like that, like specifically the left side on the records. But as I like come back here, because this is kind of like we've had access to something like this for a while.
Correct.
It is this, and I'm kind of I like my table views, anyways. But just like when I've been clicking through, so records, as expected, takes me right into CRM index page. Properties, like property groups, associated objects and labels, additional logic. Don't have a ton set up in my own portal. Manage object, we can create property, view object usage. Probably this is viable for anything.
Other objects.
Like most of the other stuff. Don't activate your primary objects, or don't deactivate your primary objects, folks. Customize the forms. And this is something I haven't clicked on yet. So this is, I would have been very surprised had you got this into the new space. But I will be excited, when that day comes. So if I keep clicking through here, got our properties. And again, even just to see this screen and be able to like have more, like start to match the bulk experience with like the individual editing, that we have all the real estate we need, like when it comes to the property itself. And feel free to jump in anytime. Sure. I'm pretty good at talking for the whole hour if you let me. But and trying to share just like free flow what's coming to mind, like as I click on stuff.
One thing I'll mention is since we've rolled out this feature and it's replacing like an old view, one of the things that we did include with this is the self-paced tours. So that's another nice way for users to learn these new views. It'll kind of help guide them. So
click on one of those.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it'll help you kind of step through like what you would see like actually on the UI. So I feel like a lot of times tours, can sometimes be kind of hit or miss, but this just kind of tells you exactly where you need to be in the UI. So
Yep. I like that. I think there's always opportunity here to like usually, like how do we fit them in with the user flow, right? Because they perform best, in my opinion, when like I'm about to go do something instead
Yeah.
of like I need to go learn something, right? And that's where I'm loving what Breeze is doing. Breeze Assistant has gotten so good over the last few weeks, I'd say, at sharing screenshots of like how to's and like I just have to. I'm always finding ways to like show off Breeze Assistant right now in any kind of content. So, and this is a common one. Like no matter what we're talking about, I'm going to ask him for a visual.
So, Chris, now that you have seen this view, uh, would it be helpful for you to see the changes being applied on the left side when you are talking with Breeze here? Let's say you want to rename appointments to something and you are chatting with Breeze about it. And what if that screen opens on your left side and then it's all filled up for you to, have a look at it before you confirm? Would you allow an experience like that?
So if I were basically talking through any possible data model changes with Breeze, instead of showing me here in line, it might pop up here and say you're about to change these things.
Yeah, kind of an interactive mode where the page becomes interactive as you talk with Breeze. The page also moves. Let's say you're trying to look at, properties for calls. When Breeze is talking to you about the properties for that particular object, the screen on the left side could also navigate into the properties table.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
does that sound?
I think any amount of dynamic like activity, like to help guide us, like the coaching and the guiding, like anything, like there's anything is valuable there, right? Like a kind of like what we were just seeing. Like when you say that, I'm like, it's basically this, some of these things in an applied
Correct.
way, right?
Correct.
And working that stuff into the flow, for sure. And I was kind of like halfway expecting him to answer like this. It's like he already got some great visuals. Man, why do I need to create one? I need like image. But yeah, that's exactly like on the money, because I think, and something that this should automatically help with is just I need a new property or I need to do a thing. Let me go to this single place and I'll have all the context I need to see if properties exist. And honestly, like in the background, like what I got excited about was knowing that if this can happen here, that means it's probably easier for Breeze Assistant to understand how my data model works, right? Which has been a challenge and why I haven't necessarily used Breeze Assistant a ton, because today I have appointments and tomorrow you think it's a custom object. And there's been a lot of that. And I haven't experienced any of that in recent. I love he's holding me accountable to the tools I already have right now. And so at the top of the main panel, just above the table and to the left of the search bar, there are 3 view buttons, and switch to graph view, and then export data model as an image.
Yeah, you should be able to get that as an image.
Yep. That's fair. It's a fair challenge, Breeze. And so, well, go ahead.
I want to add something there on what Britt was saying. We had a similar experience in this space that was called overview. It was not called manage, where you could just have a look at all these things but not make any changes to it. So now what we did was like you can still look at it as a graph and make changes to it. The other thing we did was like, as you saw, the access is at the most granular level. You don't have to be a super admin to make changes. You can, partner admins also have the same access as super admins right now in this tool. I have seen people asking for that. So as a partner admin, you should be able to come to this data model experience and then make changes to it. And for example, if you have access only to edit properties, but not create objects, all the flows that let you create properties would be locked, would be open, but anything on object management would be locked. So the access goes both ways. Partner admins are super admins and also at a granular level.
Okay. That's helpful. So am I seeing like, if I have, honestly, I shouldn't even ask questions like that. Like if I'm in sales, I'm never coming into this page. So I don't need to see all the properties. Like,
You could still come in and see everything. You cannot make
right.
any changes to
I
it.
could see the number of records, even
Yes.
if I didn't have
Yeah.
view access to like,
You have view access, but you don't have edit access.
okay. So if I don't have view access to the courses object, I would not see the courses object
Correct.
here.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Understandable. I'm just going to try this image one more time. Note that larger data models may have decreased image quality. It's 50 objects too much here.
No, I think this is something wrong with it. By now you should have had the image downloaded.
Yep.
We can look into this one.
It has worked before. So
Yeah.
sure, just a glitch today. It's live demos. And that's okay.
I mean, that's the goal. We could find more things like this.
Yep. So how I think it's always been interesting. I'm a big pipelines guy. I like to take advantage of all of the pipelines when they are available to me. So as an example, I am going to get to this by going here and here. Since you guys are right here, is there any other way for me to get to here from there?
You could have looked at the object usage panel. Go to the same place, like manage object. No. Yeah, on the actions menu. Yeah, that one. And check for object usage. It should, or does it? Yeah. Workflows right there. Don't see pipelines. Yeah, we didn't bring pipelines yet here.
Okay. Yeah, it's always even I haven't really figured it out yet, even though like blank canvas working with AI, like the best way to present like property level data and like that granularity and pipelines, like where you can actually show a visual, like the best I can do is like pick one or the other in any given moment and allow for like a change, like show me the pipeline version of this thing right now. But even there, it's pretty clunky. So I'm curious if you guys, if a goal is a truly like unified, management experience, have you guys talked about like what this could be or needs to be over in the new space?
Yes, pipelines is our next step in centralization. So we are having conversations about pipelines, events, and integrations, like connections that you have from other apps and all that. So we are having conversations about these things right now. I don't know which one we would pick next, but we are talking about these things.
Okay. That's good to know. It's not, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys don't necessarily prioritize this part. I wish the ecosystem used pipelines a lot more
Mhm.
than they do. And I think it's, let's say from my perspective, it makes working with agents and agentic workflows a lot easier, like to help them manage objects like before and after meetings or just like project management. There's a ton of opportunity. Kind of like when we focus on the data model, it is if you can get the stages right, pipelines across objects, man, it just activates like the rest of HubSpot. So I'd be very interested in any. I'm curious, like as I bring that up, what's the first question that maybe after prioritization that you guys are trying to answer or you would like answered? If I said, hey, like, pipelines are central to the way my data model like supports our business, what's the first question that comes to mind in terms of like how you would fit it in here or how you would think about fitting it in here?
Yeah, as you said, pipelines by itself is a complex, uh, you know, uh, solution. You have pipeline rules, you have stage rules, you can have multiple pipelines per object. Fitting all of that into the visual here is the most challenging part. We could open up a tab like we have for properties and then add pipelines to it, but then we also have to bring all the capabilities that you see in the pipeline settings page, where you can set up rules per pipeline and all those stage change conditional rules. So that's the uh, most challenging thing that we want to solve when we want to bring pipelines into this view.
Yeah, one other thing that I'll say too is that the data model builder, our whole goal, especially with this page, is to try to get as unified as we can. So, in terms of moving things in, I don't think anything is off the table, I would say, which is a big statement, I would say, but like anything that can make the views better, that we're focused on that. We're having all kinds of conversations around that.
That makes sense. I think the couple times that I've gotten the chance to talk about it, because it was one of the first things I mentioned to the team when I like first saw this view. It's like, okay, properties association's great. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I would love to be able to manage pipelines from here. But I think the more that you think about it and like manage pipelines, it's usually related to like process management or like flows, like not workflows like automation, but just like the flow of daily work, right? And so does it even like the management of the pipelines is just so different from the rest of what's in this space? And does
Yes,
it
sir.
make sense to like push me over to which like one of my Breeze chats, because I'm not like a workflows guy, because I'm focused on helping people with data models so that they can actually like make use of workflows. But I asked Breeze if we could make an appointment record whenever a meeting is created in the CRM. Made it for me, and now we're in the space. And this is like a space that makes way more sense for me to actually see like pipeline stages, like be able to connect in, like just connect it to the rest of the data model, because we're often having to do like entry and exit, property stuff. like requirements, and it's always related to, usually related to other objects or other properties. And like this kind of canvas is where I would love to see, like, it makes sense to push us over here, I think. And if there was a way to do that, maybe in between here and the marketing campaigns, or like the marketing studio, like this kind of canvas play to support that would be cool. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's a nice idea. Thank you.
yeah. Like I said, I've been working hard on my own website and my own resources, and like, as much as I want to put it in the same place as everything else, it's just it's been challenging. How do you guys think about Breeze Assistant in relationship with like this kind of space and managing the data model? Because I'm trying to get every admin or every HubSpot manager to start, like, if you can get the team in the behavior of just everything you need to do, go ask Breeze about it first. And that's what, like, this is like my second time asking Breeze to do something in the past, like, couple weeks. Last week, first time was an email. Okay, great. Like, but these things from a data model perspective, like, I'm asking about meetings and appointments, like two not well-known objects. They haven't been full objects. They might not, they're still not really, like, in a lot of cases, they're not fully unlocked in some spots. Like, for example, appointments, right? Doesn't have tags. Like, there's something about them that often causes us like challenges when we go to the tried and true HubSpot tool, and then we run into that. So like, it made me very happy when like Breeze could just solve that for me, instead of just going to check in the new automation canvas. And like, so with two, like, lesser known objects about what we can or can't do with them, Breeze made it, and it was just a really delightful experience. Like, are you? I guess you already talked about one use case where you're using it to help us like get coached, kind of like in workflow tours a little bit. But what else are you guys thinking about or hearing about from users in terms of like how we can use Breeze Assistant to help here?
Yeah, two things. As I told you, one is about the interactive mode, where you can chat with Breeze and see the same changes happening on the left side, right? And the other option is within the Breeze, when you are talking about an object or a property. I'm not sure if you're hearing a noise around me.
You're okay.
Okay, cool. So when you are chatting with Breeze about the data model, it talks about objects, properties, and associations, right? But it's all text. We are exploring the idea of rendering some of our visual components into the Breeze space. So when we talk about an association between contacts and one of your custom objects, we would be able to show you, a visual of contacts, and then an arrow passing to the custom object, and then explaining what the labels could be, what the cardinality could be, and all that. So just to make the presentation a little better, not just fully textual, just to make it more visual. So we are trying to bring in some of these components that you see on the left side. Probably when you go to the graph, you see a card for each object. Maybe we will start showing that card within the Breeze Assistant space itself. You could expand Breeze Assistant here for a much bigger canvas. if you do that, then there is more space for showing more visual components there. So that's the other area we are exploring right now.
Yep. I'm trying to
Have you
get it
tried that
to,
one, like expanding Breeze further?
oh yeah. I'm trying to get it to make
Okay.
something that forces me to expand it. So it looks like now, since I need presentation style and the sales and marketing version of this. Like now it's definitely gonna give me a canvas.
Great. Yeah.
But I like, I think especially with like where you're going, like there's a small subset of people that want to be in a conversation on a screen like this, right? And when we have to talk to leadership teams and like, management of anybody outside of RevOps, basically, like they actually push back a lot when I say the words data model, like too much. So having those visual moments where it's not just a table all the time, is why like I make a lot of assets outside of HubSpot before bringing people into HubSpot. And that's where any help, like helping explain HubSpot without explaining HubSpot is kind of how I say it.
Yeah.
Because the words of the objects like get people confused. And so I am like, it's fun to get to be able to do this stuff every day. Like, and at least a few examples a day we're setting up like what Breeze Assistant can do to tell the story, right? Beyond like a table, beyond, an ERD. Like it's important and it's not very easy and it's hard to get good at it. But enough turns with Breeze Assistant, like we can iterate now, right?
Yeah.
And like this is just, so like any user in HubSpot, like you can just build this into your process, whether you're an admin, like even for the admins and the people that I think, like I'm suggesting need to like be an AI orchestrator is what, most HubSpot managers and admins, like if you can shoot for that, you're going to do what your team needs you to do. Because for everybody else, there is a space where either on mobile or desktop, just come and chat with Breeze and you'll get your job done. And Breeze will help you do stuff. But also from an admin perspective, like using Breeze Assistant to learn like what you need to do to create that situation. It's right here. And if you haven't seen it in the past couple of weeks, like please like come back and check it out. But anything that you're really hoping that I would click on or talk about that I have not before we wrap up today?
I have a couple of questions from my side. Once you started using this, how much of your data model changes are being made outside this place? Like, did you have to go to properties or object settings to make any of those changes? Is it solving most of your use cases?
I'm a little special because I do everything via Cloud Code command line.
Okay.
Which I was not that person like before November of last year.
Yes.
So, but even still, like the thing with the notes, like was really powerful for me. Where I think I might have even checked after the fact, like couldn't see it over in the CRM index page, couldn't see it like in the object settings area, but I could see it here. Like that's where it was just knowing, just trusting that this is a place I could go to see the whole story, is really powerful for sure.
Britt, do you have anything?
I guess this is a big question, but I guess like it's just sort of a question that I'm kind of curious of because it just brings some imagination in, I guess, which is what would bring you to this view every day. That's kind of the first thought I had is like what would bring you to want to check this view every day.
I think you want to make it easy for us not to. Honestly, like this is a place where, like, maybe in the first 3 months, so as a HubSpot partner that helps people onboard and implement and rethink their data model, like there's a few months where it's hot and heavy, like, and we're building stuff out. But after that, like if we've done the architecture correctly, like we shouldn't be in here like too much. So I think the answer to that for everyone needs to be just make sure Breeze Assistant can do this stuff like for me, right? And then if I do have, even to that point, like when Breeze was telling me I could export the visual over here, like I'd rather him just export it, like just give me the visual from there. But this is usually the reason that I would want to come in to see a visual version, like of the full context of the system. Like I'm about to make a decision of some sort. I want to check something. I want to confirm that I'm doing the right thing within the context of the entire system and also at the granular like level, right? Yeah, I think like this is great. Like I'm really excited that this exists. Now it's about coaching people and communicating, that it does, and any little bit that can help people understand and build those data model muscles, or at least know what to ask AI to help them with, it's going to go a long way. Because this is at the heart of most business, data maintenance struggles, is that the data model is not set up properly. And HubSpot's got like 30 plus native like CRM objects like that have not been around for a while. And yeah, you need to come in and check it out if you haven't. So I really appreciate you guys, the work that you're doing to be able to, and also coming out with me to help unbox this. Yeah, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
I hope everybody
Thank
has a
you.
great weekend. We'll see
We
you
are
next time.
excited. Thanks for having
Thanks,
us,
guys.
Chris. Thank you. Thank you.